Ben Renault here, and today what I'm here to talk about is TCL's plan to relaunch the Palm smartphone brand on Verizon in the fall of this year. Now, for those of you who are uninitiated, TCL is a very successful smartphone manufacturer from China that makes a wide variety of smartphones with, as far as I know, none actually containing the name TCL. They all contain different names. But they are a fairly huge company. And recently, they've made a habit of buying dead smartphone brands and trying to breathe new life into them. Now, last year, they signed a licensing agreement with BlackBerry to make BlackBerry branded smartphones. And during that time frame, they sold 815,000 BlackBerry smartphones, which they called a roaring success, but I think we'd all agree is a pretty pitiful number. Now, before signing that agreement with BlackBerry, they did buy the brand Palm from HP. Now, they originally stated that their plans for the Palm brand were to run a Kickstarter crowdfunding project that would supply them with the funds to have a Silicon Valley engineering and hardware team. Now, that obviously never came to be, but it looks like they took some time to do some soul searching, and now they're going to be re-releasing the brand on Verizon in the fall of this year. Now, there are a few reasons why I think this is an awful idea. So, first off, it's going to be butting up right against the Samsung Galaxy S9 and the iPhone relaunch that's going to be happening later this year. So going into a crowded field like that with a lot of big players is already a recipe for disaster. So at best, they're probably hoping for some niche success and not really some sort of widespread renewal. And, I'm just guessing this is going to be an Android branded smartphone with just the Palm name on it and with maybe some gimmicks. Like, they could try doing a keyboard like back from Palm's resistive days, but if the BlackBerry acquisition is anything to go off of, nobody cares about whether or not it has a keyboard. They could do a pen, which again, going back to the resistive days, but the Galaxy Note 9 will be launching at the same time, and that's going to have a much better implementation, of course. They could do like a software gimmick, but again, those are also very unsuccessful most of the time. So, what my best bet is, I think they're going to launch a Android branded smartphone with some WebOS style skin on it. And it's definitely not going to be WebOS though, because that would just be suicide. I mean, WebOS hasn't really been a platform for years, and trying to build that from the ground up is just not going to be easy. Um, Either way, though, I don't really think this phone's going to be successful. I mean, carrier branding hasn't mattered for almost a decade. I mean, the Nokia Lumia 1020 had heavy carrier branding and heavy push by AT&T, but that really didn't help it move the needle at all. And I don't think Verizon is going to sink massive amounts of money into promoting this either. I doubt you'll see any commercials for it. I mean, and this is coming from somebody who's always been an alternative smartphone user. I used WebOS back when it was relevant, as well as BlackBerry and Windows Phone, and I was really sad to see WebOS and Palm die such an unclimactic death. But if we're being honest, TCL isn't going to do this brand justice. They aren't going to launch something which is game changing and is an incredible homage to the brand. It's just going to be a cheap cash in. They're not going to they're not going to bring in Jeff Hawkins from Palm's independent days and launch something really incredible. They're just going to do what Nokia has done, that they're just going to launch a smartphone which would normally be a Chinese smartphone for half the price, but they're going to charge double for it because there's a nostalgic name on it. Um, Unfortunately, I mean, that's what I see happening, but I mean, they could prove me wrong. They could hire a bunch of really smart software engineers, make some really good tweaks to Android, make something that a lot of people will find appealing, even if it is still a niche product. But I really doubt that's going to happen. So, those are my thoughts on the subject. If you guys have any sort of other thoughts, just feel free to drop them in the comments section below. Otherwise, thank you guys so much for watching this video, and don't forget to subscribe.